You mentioned kind of what some of your former teammates and guys, like I said, and I told fans this again, with all of the candidates, Perry, that I saw, there was a roll of the dice to some degree. There wasn't a Steve Spurrier out there where it's like, oh, that's a no-brainer. You have to hire him. It's a slam dunk, whatever. Every single candidate I saw had pros and cons, and there was a risk to each. Even the Chadwells, even the Billy Napiers, even the Hugh Freezes, the Neil Browns, whoever it was. But it became intoxicating the way that, and again, I'm somebody I've been blessed enough, again, like yourself, like others. I mean, you probably saw I had a guy like DJ Swearinger on the show. When you hear guys like that endorse this guy, and again, like you said, and I said this before, maybe in other searches that wouldn't be such a big deal, but we saw it fall off to such a degree that like you talked about, getting the culture back, getting the standard back to what it was. And again, Shane Beamer's a guy who's seen South Carolina football at its height. Again, he left right before those 11-win seasons, but he's seen it build up to that. He knows what it's capable of. And like you said, this is his quote-unquote dream job. But when you hear guys like Steven Garcia, like Pat DeMarco, DJ Swearinger, Devontae Holloman, Dylan Thompson, and again, these aren't just guys. These are the greatest. Marcus Lattimore, they're the greatest to ever wear the uniform at South Carolina, a lot of them.
And was recruited by every one of those names was recruited by Shane Beamer.
Exactly. And he had a major hand in all of them. If not, he was the main guy. Just talk about, again, I know you went, into some detail, but what those guys have said about him. Again, I will not knock a South Carolina fan for being, nervous or even a little skeptical because he has no head coaching experience. But what I say is this, Perry, and I said this all throughout the search, I think this is a perfect time to roll the dice on a guy. And if you're going to roll a dice on the guy, like you were saying, why not roll the dice on the guy who wants to be here, who has been here before? He cut his teeth at this program. Again, he's the son of a legend. He's been around a bunch of legendary head coaches. Why not roll the dice with the one of your own, instead of just a complete stranger? So just speak to that and what your former teammates have said.
Yeah, you have to. That has to take, and I'm sure it took heavy consideration. You're right about the other coaches. Nobody ever is a slam dunk hire. Mm-hmm. I think one of the biggest quote unquote slam dunk hires was Tom Herman at Texas.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the dude had Houston rolling.
Yeah.
And he goes to Texas and they can't figure it out. So what are we, where are we coming up with these? Okay, well, they're good at one school and he's guaranteed to do well. And I get the head coaching experience, but he's been here before. I'd rather take a guy that's been here before and recruited the landscape of what it takes to be great here than somebody who has to restart and build relationships with high school coaches and, learn the lay of the land of what it takes to be a Gamecock. And I mean, he knows his way around Columbia. I mean, you got to start with there. These people are human beings too. So just the overall comfortability of him being here. I'm not going to say that he's going to lead South Carolina to a national title. I hope he does. I'm not predicting that, but I think that there's something to be said when you have all these former great South Carolina players who were recruited by him. We're so hungry for him. Well, it's because there's, and I don't know what it is exactly. They all just loved him. I think that he's a personable guy. He made it fun. He's a guy you want to spend time with and be around. And from what I've seen and from what I've heard from those guys is he's got a very similar, and I know this is like a curse word around these parts, but he's very similar to the coach up the street up at Clemson. He's going to go out and get some dang good coordinators. He's going to be the figurehead of our program. You take the offense, you take the defense, and I'll run the program and recruit. Listen, man, I'm not a genius, but it's worked pretty good for Clemson. And so I really believe that that's a great motto, a great model to run a program. And I know I'm going to keep talking about AC Flora, but that's what our head coach does, Dustin Curtis at Flora. He is the figurehead of our program. He does a lot of the relations with, the outside world. But he hired two great coordinators to handle the offense and the defense. And we won the state title, and undefeated and had good players, obviously, but he was basically a glorified administrator, just letting guys do their job, go out and hire good coaches, let them do their job. And you go out and recruit great players and build a culture where people want to be here. People want to be at Clemson. Sorry, Gamecock fans, it's the truth. Kids want to go to Clemson. I mean, I saw an ad today. They're doing a friggin' Disney movie on Clemson, for God's sakes. I mean, it's crazy. But think about 10 years ago, Clemson maybe wasn't 2-8, but they were right there here trying to figure out which way was up, and now they're getting movies made after him. So it can obviously be done. You just have to get the right guy. And I think that for right now, Shane Beamer looks like potentially the right guy.